Wrestling makes you think.
It starts with wrestling and it goes everywhere else. Have you ever sat with your friends and a topic comes up that sidetracks, takes 4 lefts, and goes off a cliff?
Macho Man never guest starred on the A-Team.
Dennis Franz did.
Yeah, look, I have a permanent mental scar from his full reverse nudity on NYPD Blue.
Macho Man did guest star on the Golden Girls, though.
That's just a meme.
Picture it. Slim Jim's 1993. Oh, yeah.
What were we talking about again? Wrestling Makes You Think. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Step inside our think tank.
Hello and welcome to Peace, Love, and Robots, a podcast about anything and everything and all that is in between. I am your host, Jeremy, and this is episode number 27 for March 10th, 2021. Yep. We're almost a year into the pandemic. Almost a year, and things are just starting to open up again. But who wants to go places, you know? I, for one, welcome to the ability to stay at home all day, because I honestly like the idea of sweatpants on a Tuesday. And, of course, not seeing people. I'm ironically introverted. I liked staying home. It was a wonderful, weird time, you know? I don't think I'm alone, and I'd rather not wear a mask anymore because I have this glorious beard I would like to show off. But instead, it gets covered up by this little piece of fabric. In fact, I would rather have a long mask that covered my beard a little better. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Wait, can I order a mask that covers my beard? I mean, I already hate covering my beard, but there's something weird about it, like sticking out underneath the mask. It's just, it looks weird. How did cowboys do that in the Old West anyway? Actually, all the cowboy movies I see, the cowboys are like clean shaven, or they have like 5 o'clock shadow. I guess they shaved with straight razor or something, or they visited the old barber shop before getting in a shootout. I don't know. I honestly, I look forward to the first wave of COVID rom-coms, really. Where people, they have a meet cute while they're wearing a mask. See, I did it again. I talked through the song while riffing. It's okay. I'll get over it. Anyway, these COVID rom-coms, I'm looking forward to them because, the people would have this meet cute where they're both wearing the mask, They'd slowly get to know each other, and they fall in love, and then there's a misunderstanding of some sort, and hilarious mishaps ensue, and finally they come to some sort of solution, and they decide to kiss 2 minutes before it's over, and they remove the mask to reveal one of them has really jacked up teeth. Like going all sorts of directions, like every direction. One's going east, one's going west, and they have like halitosis. Maybe their teeth are a little bit yellow. Yeah, they look like they spit corn or spit butter. Yeah, that's gross. I'm sorry. There's an image for you. Google Gene Snitsky, the wrestler, and you'll see an image of horrible, horrible teeth. It was his gimmick. It wasn't that like he really had horrible teeth. They like yellowed him up and stuff. It was the grossest thing ever. And I imagine that's in our future. Thankfully we can go to the dentist now. I didn't get a cleaning at the dentist for like almost a year because of the pandemic. Because my appointment was like 2 weeks after the pandemic lockdown started, so they had to bump everyone 6 months ahead. It was really, really bad by the time I got there. But no cavities. Yeah. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by the ads you hear at the beginning and the end of the show. So if you listen all the way through, I'll forever be in your debt. Now on to the show. So I've been reading Jon Acuff's latest book called Soundtracks, which is about turning the problem of overthinking into a superpower. I'm not one to grab onto self-help mumbo-jumbo, and I'm especially gun-shy after wasting far too much money on a self-help coaching course that was nothing but a mixture of New Age, nonsense, and NAR church heresy. It was awful. I won't name names. But Jon Acuff, he hasn't steered me wrong. At least not yet. And since I was able to get on his launch team for the book, I have this rare opportunity to read it before it's released on April 6th. So mark your calendars. You're going to want to buy this book if you overthink. I think everybody overthinks to an extent. I'm not going to review the book yet because I'm still reading it. That would be too much like that time in the 10th grade when Ms. Setzer, she assigned this book Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck, and I faked my way through a report on it by mentioning how many times they had to stop along the road. So Charlie, by the way, I should mention he was a dog. I think he was a yellow lab. Yeah, my friend Mark and I used to riff on that a lot. We were in the 10th grade, but we liked to riff. But the book was a lot of driving and John Steinbeck stopping and letting Charlie out of the like camper truck he had so he could relieve himself. And it was a lot. It was almost every chapter. So seriously, it was page after page about a dog sniffing and sniffing until he could find the appropriate place to pee. It wasn't Steinbeck's best, and I still somehow got a B on that report. But for the past week, all that set aside, I've been participating in the Overcoming Overthinking Challenge over on Facebook, where Jon Acuff himself, he presented 5 days worth of teachings for an hour, even a 6th hour with his wife talking about being married to a dreamer. He did 5 days of live teaching about the basic concepts of the book and how we can use them to create new soundtracks, which are things we tell ourselves that either propel us forward or hold us back in order to meet our goals. And right off the bat, I gotta let you know, this isn't some sort of name it and claim it, law of attraction, Oprah Winfrey's The Secret, speak it and it shall be, vision board stuff, okay? That's New Age witchcraft, and I will have no part of it. This is science. See, the science of how the words we say affect or effect, I still can never figure out which one I need to use in that context, affect or effect. Anyway, our actions and our achievements. For example, if you tell yourself that you're never going to lose weight, do you think you'll be able to turn down that third helping of ice cream after 10 p.m. every night? No. But because at that point you've surrendered to it, right? But if you tell yourself that you can lose weight and you can make good dietary choices, you tell yourself those things, you may not always make the best choices, but at least you'll take a pause before you make the bad ones. And you'll also have the power of giving yourself a bit of grace in those moments too, because that's important, having grace for yourself and others. So because of this, I've started the process of rewriting the soundtracks in my life in order to change it for the better. When it comes to my health, I've been particularly down. I'm almost depressed because I was officially diagnosed with myocarditis, and it's terrifying because when either your heart or your brain are not working properly, that can really be scary because they're like the two most important organs. I mean, if there was a top 5, it'd definitely be the top 2. And, maybe the liver and the pancreas or, stomach. Those are probably up there too. I don't know in the power rankings of human organs. But the brain and the heart are important. And neither of them are working, it can be scary. But instead of thinking, I'm going to die, so why bother? Yeah, I've thought that. Even though myocarditis is treatable, it's not always fatal. It can be chronic, but it's not fatal. Instead of thinking I'm going to die, so why bother, I've started to think and tell myself this new soundtrack. I'm not dead. I'm not dead yet, so why not? Yeah, I'm not dead yet, so why not? Why not write that book? Why not keep publishing these podcasts? Why not pick up that long dormant podcast and find a way to bring it to life? I'm not dead yet, so why not give up the midnight snacking and cut most of the sodium so I can lose weight and my heart can heal? Along those lines, these are some other new anthems I'm going to be telling myself, some other new soundtracks. I'm going to get healthy for Michelle, my wife, and for my kids. I'm going to live for Michelle, for my kids, and for God's glory. I'm going to write my book. I'm going to bring back the podcast that I sort of have been wanting to relaunch forever. It's called Mind the Gaps. It's a popular culture IQ movie podcast. I'll talk about that a little later. I'm going to keep doing this podcast, Peace, Love, and Robots. I'm going to keep doing the Wrestling Makes You Think podcast. I'm going to be a successful writer and podcaster, and only I can define what success means. I may not get rich off this. I may not be famous, but I'll at least get things done, and I'll at least produce material, because the guy who always wants to do a podcast or wants to write a book but never does is a little behind a guy who writes that book, who does those podcasts. And I want to be ahead of that guy. I don't want to be the guy who gives up. I know. That was a bit melodramatic, but I don't have time to pussyfoot around it anymore. It's time for action. No more tears. Like that shampoo for babies. Because trust me, I've done my share of crying. But I'm really getting hyped up for Mind the Gaps. I sat down today and I wrote out a master list for the next 9 months or so. That's about 18 or 19 episodes, because that's only going to get 2 episodes a month because of the work involved. Yeah, there's a lot of work. I have to, the thing about Mind the Gaps, if you're new to Vox Robotica Media, which is the giant name I put on top of all of my podcasts. It's the network I've created. It's just me and, my kids, but that's besides the point. Mind the Gaps is a podcast dedicated to me filling the gaps in my pop culture IQ by watching movies that everybody says you gotta watch. Yeah, there are some movies that I've never seen, even though I have a pretty high pop culture IQ. I've seen a lot of stuff, but there are some movies I have not. And what I do is I sit down and I watch the movie, I take some notes, and then I talk about it. What I know before I watch the movie, and then what I learned and all that. I run down the movie. I talk about what I saw, what the story is, and really what I'd love to do is get a couple of co-hosts that can come on, one new co-host every week or every show, because I'm only going to do it twice a month. I have one new co-host every show to talk about a movie that they have seen and I have not, or maybe they haven't seen it and they watched it for the first time the same and just like me, because that's what it's about, filling pop culture gaps. So the first few I've got listed, if you've seen Platoon or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or Casablanca, Strange Brew, or Something Like It Hot, let me know. I've never seen them, and I'm going to watch them for the show. Whether I get a co-host for them or not, I will do that show. That's the plan. And you can do just that by sending me an email at peaceloveandrobotspod@gmail.com. That's peaceloveandrobotspod@gmail.com, all one word. Or you can leave me a voicemail at 585-371-8986. That's 585-371-8986. If you send me an email, make sure you put Mind the Gaps in the subject line so I see it. Or say at the beginning of the voicemail, hey, Mind the Gaps, that's my jam. Yeah. When I hear from you, I just might share what you say on the next episode. Just remember to keep it clean. And if you're a fan of pro wrestling and you're tired of the same old wrestling podcast with the this angle happened here, these people did that, who signed where, blah, 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 blah. That's good stuff, but I have the perfect show for you if you're tired of that. It's called Wrestling Makes You Think. It's 3 guys, a robot, and random topics about wrestling and what they make us think of. It's a good time. This week, we asked the question, what do grade school gambling, El Gigante, and questionable injections make you think of? Yeah. Questionable injections. You got to hear it to believe it. And it's good. So you got to check it out. It's a good time. It's a good time. Find it anywhere where podcasts are sold. And if you're so inclined, please rate, review, and share the show. You are the wind in the sails of the good ship Vox Robotica. Without you, I would not be here. Peace, love, and robots. This ain't your mama's podcast. See ya.